Or you ever look at your garden in early in the spring and wonder why neighbor's yard is bursting with color while yours is still sleeping? I mean, I used to think the same thing until I discovered the secret that professional landscapers use to create in stunning early spring gardens. And today, I'm going to show you exactly which plants to use to get gorgeous bloom before everyone else's garden wakes up. I've been working with high-end properties in Connecticut for years now, and I have noticed that most beautiful gardens all have one thing in common. They plan for early spring colors. And the best part is actually pretty simple, but you know which plants to choose. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the first plants that give you color through spring. Early spring. And I'll show you exactly what to plant and when they bloom and a little bit about how to take care of them. And by the way, if you want my complete spring garden planning guide that I use with my high-end clients, check out the link in the description below. Let's start with one of my absolute favorites, and this is usually the first one to show up, daffodils. You know what's really interesting about daffodils? They actually can start blooming as early March in some areas. They are like early birds for the spring. The great thing about daffodils, and this is really cool, is that they're complete deer resistant. That's because they actually toxic to the deers and rodents, which makes them perfect for Connecticut's garden where we deal with a lot of wildlife. Plant these buds in the fall about 6 to 8 weeks before the ground freezes, and they will reward you with first colors in the spring. Next up, and these are really special, we have the fritillaries or fritillaries. These are usually the first ones to bloom after the daffodils, and they have these unique bell-shaped flowers that look almost exotic. I like to plant these in groups because, they create a really interesting display. The great thing about fritillaries is that they prefer well-drained soil and can do well in either full sun or partial shade. They're a little bit different from what most people plant, and that's what makes them stand out. Now let's talk about tulips. Tulips are usually a little bit late in the spring, but they're worth the wait. And here's something interesting. Did you know that tulips were once so valued in the Netherlands that they were worth more than some houses? These days, we're lucky that they're a lot more affordable. I usually recommend planting a mix of early and mid-spring tulips. That way you can get longer, sharper colors. Then we have the azaleas, and these are really starting to show their stuff as the spring gets going. What I love about azaleas, and I see that all the time in the high-end properties we work with, it shows they can just transform a whole area of your garden. But prefer the acid soil that we have here in Connecticut, and they do really well in partial shade. Just make sure you don't plant them too deep. That's a mistake that I see a lot of people make. And speaking of acid-loving plants, rhododendrons or rhodi are the next on our list. These are usually blooming around the same time as azalea, right after, and they can get pretty big. I've seen some rhododendrons are like small trees. They're perfect to create a background of colors in your spring garden. The key with the rhododendron is making sure they have a good drainage. They don't like wet feet, as we say in the landscaping world. So there you have it. These are the plants that will give you the first colors of spring. Start with daffodils and those really early blooms, then forsythias, followed by tulips, and finally with azaleas and rhododendrons to carry out throughout the season. And remember, the secret to a beautiful spring garden is planning ahead and planting your bulbs in the fall. And here's a pro tip I always share with my clients. Plant these in groups of odd numbers. It creates a more natural falling look in your garden. Trust me, when the spring comes around, you'll be glad you did it. If you want to learn more about creating a stunning year-round color in your garden, check out my next video where I'll show you the best summer blooming plants to keep your garden looking amazing all season long. And don't forget to grab my spring garden planning guide in the description below.